Welcome back to Sam and Rick. Listen, we go to the movies a lot. And sometimes I watch reviews here on YouTube where people talk about what they thought about the movie. And we went to go see Wolfman recently. And the things I heard them saying about Wolfman, I decided to jump on in here. So this is going to have spoilers. I have to say how I actually feel. I don't know how to give it halfway. So if you're here and you're thinking I'm going to give you a review without spoilers, probably not.
Yeah, scroll away.
But if you want to hear exactly what we think about the movies and all the interesting thoughts that came up, you're in the right place.
Because hearing it and seeing it are two different things. Like you can hear about something, but actually seeing it unfold doesn't take away the excitement of it all.
And maybe you're on the fence. Maybe you're like, I've seen all these terrible reviews. I don't think I want to see that movie.
Go see it.
Let me give you a little bit of the inside scoop. So maybe then you want to see it. Or maybe you saw it and you're like, I didn't think it was that bad. You might resonate with some of what we have to say. So let's get into it. The Wolfman is a movie made by this guy, Lee Wanell. I might be pronouncing his last name wrong. But he was actually doing a revitalization of some of the horror classics. And I'm going to put a link down in the description to this video that I watched where it really went through all the different genres of horror and how they developed and all that kind of stuff. So he did Invisible Man, he did Wolfman, and it's a modern retelling of the story, right? Very worthwhile to take a look. Now, I want to just right out the box say the title of the movie is Wolfman, not Werewolf. Might be wondering, what's the difference between those two things?
Big difference.
It's a big difference. A werewolf, let's get technical now. A werewolf transforms fully into a creature at midnight when the moon is full in the sky. But he turns right back to a little human with his clothes a little ripped up in the morning. Now a Wolfman, oh no, this is something else entirely. He completely and permanently transforms into a completely new creature. And he stays that way.
As uncomfortable as it may feel.
So Wolfman, he is permanently transforming and he's going to stay that way. It's important for you to know that. This isn't any of this in and out stuff. That's important for you to know. Now, that means all those werewolf movies you've seen, The Howling, American Werewolf in London, even my favorite, Wolf with Jack Nicholson, he did a great job. Those are not the same movie as Wolfman. Okay. So, when you're watching this body horror classic, horror movie, keep all of that in mind. Now, one of the themes that you're going to see that comes out right out the gate is manhood. No, it's not. Uh-oh. There's a dad in this movie. There actually are two dads. There's the son that becomes a dad later on. And it looks at the differing ways that they approach fatherhood and manhood. So Rick, what do you think is the purpose of fatherhood, period? Like, what are fathers supposed to do?
Fathers are to prepare their children for the harshness of the world that they are going to have to enter and live in.
Yes, they are. And the world in Wolfman, where he lived up on that mountain, yeah, that was a pretty harsh world. And so the father was appropriately harsh. He traumatized his son a little bit. But he did. It was a little traumatic.
Just a sprinkle.
It was a little traumatic.
dash of trauma.
It was a little traumatic. So then later on, the son decided, I'm going to be a different kind of dad. And he did have a really cool relationship with his daughter, right? They lived in the city. They didn't have the same pressures that my man was dealing with out there on that mountain. Now, one of the things that was kind of cool is when we think about love and the love we have for our children, sometimes that love has to show up as protein, something that makes you strong, it takes care of business. And then other times you get to have love that shows up like sugar. They're both love, but you got to think about what's needed. You need protein to help you grow, or you need sugar to just help you feel good. Just saying. So, even being able in this film to see, there was a friend that the dad had who also had a son. And while the main character in the movie moved away to the city, this particular young man, he stayed there in the area where they had been born.
He stayed in the shits, and it was a beautiful juxtaposition of the man that he became versus the man that the other guy who actually grew up and left became. I think that's something to be noted and taken notice of.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because if you're living in this wild environment, on some level, that wildness must be within you. So,
nice.
Did you like that?
Yeah, that was very poetic. It made me tingle a little bit.
Oh, tingle, I like
my
that.
hair stand up.
Oh, the hair. So, I'm letting you all know that because you're going to see elements of this nod to manhood, to fatherhood, to connection, to emotional connection or physical protection as a value in the fathering experience. You're going to see themes about that in Wolfman, and I thought it was pretty cool. You'll also see a little bit about, the woman as a modern woman that's working, that's bringing home the bacon, and there was some in there about their roles and satisfaction and happiness, but we're not going to overfocus on that for today.
They're all about the Wolfman.
All about the Wolfman. All about the Wolfman. Now, there was a moment when a part of the game between the main character and his daughter was this "I can read your mind" line, right? That became very pivotal throughout the movie because one of the things that started to happen as he descended into the transformation of becoming a Wolfman is he lost much of his human faculties. And that's actually one of the things that was really cool in the movie. You got to see and experience that as though you were him. So the special effects of how his hearing became quite amplified, you got to see that. And it's like, oh my God, do they hear that? Do they hear that? Right? Or the way his vision, his night vision developed and the way he could see, infrared, energy flowing from his family. Those kinds of things started to kind of show up. And as he was transforming, honestly, that relationship that he had with his daughter was such a strong connection to his humanity. It was probably one of the last things to permanently, untether.
Yeah, and it showed how strong love is, how I might not be able to communicate with you through words, but my actions and my gestures, my body language, the things that I do can communicate to you how much I love and adore you, and those things I want you to know. Like I always say that love is an action. It's not just a word, it's an action. So.
And he had plenty of times in the movie to show how much he loved his wife and daughter.
Exactly.
Although he was becoming a whole Wolfman, he still had the presence of mind to try to protect them from his father, because that was the other wolf. Spoiler! But this is full of them. But still, that was the other wolf. Was his dad, and so he had a chance to fight his dad and really get back in there to work through all that trauma he had been wrestling throughout his development. As a mental health professional, I can kind of see the full circle moment that he had of, making peace and having to kind of stand up to his father. It was really a beautiful moment. And it was kind of cool because at first the family thought that they were safe inside of the house. And the danger was outside because the Wolfman was outside. But slowly, this man started to become a Wolfman. Now there's danger inside. And running outside was the only place they started to feel safe.
The lesser of the two evils. Which one you going to choose? It was a crazy predicament.
Yes, it was. And I will say, let me talk for a moment. My final point is going to be about these like petite, spunky actresses. I love the lady who played the wife in this movie. You remember her from Ozark?
Ozark, that's right. That little spunky girl from Ozark. She's great.
Good. She was good. She's strong, confident, says what needs to be said.
And pale as hell.
Well, she is pale, but she was very strong. I love that character. It kind of reminds me of the lady Danielle Deadweiler and what they're doing with her. She was in Carry On. She was also in The Harder They Fall. Little toughies. I like them. 5 foot and strong. I don't know if they're actually 5 feet, but because I'm 5 feet, I want to imagine them as being 5 feet and tough.
They're probably 4'11".
Oh.
You're taller.
Taller, stronger. But I don't really want to be in Wolfman to prove it. I think you should watch the movie. And I'd love to know in the comments, what do you think about it? Did you like it? If you don't go in thinking it's going to be a werewolf movie where they're tearing people apart, can you appreciate it as just a modern rendition of a horror classic?
Enjoy.
Hey you know you like watching our videos. Why don't you go ahead and subscribe?